Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 18, Leading People. Juan Carrillo, working out of Marty's office in Southern California for the last 6 months, asks a great question. Before I get to the question, I just want to give you a shout out with your goals. I like how you're thinking. Goal is to become an owner, purchase multiple properties, and achieve financial freedom. Did you know that in the Declaration of Independence, the original unalienable rights were life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. And then obviously Thomas Jefferson changed that last bit to the pursuit of happiness. But originally that was in the Declaration of Independence. So again, I like how you think. Pursuing property, creating passive income, creating wealth. So Juan, I think you're on the right track. You asked the question, how do you manage to win in the business? I'm going to pause there for a second. You're winning in the business. Many of you are winning in the business. You're performing. You're an alpha. You know how to set the pace consistently week in, week out. When you slump, you rebound fast, you get back up. So you're in that boat. Many of you, again, are in that boat. And your question is, how do you manage to win in business and create a great team around you who are also winning? And I think this is just a natural evolution in the business. You start off really working on you. Okay, I gotta manage me here somehow. I gotta motivate me. I gotta be able to sell. I have to be able to be consistent. And you eventually learn the art of following the 5 and 8 step system, and you get consistent results. And then you hit a little bit of a wall where people around me just aren't doing that. I'm doing it, but my team just isn't quite doing it. I remember my team was hitting around 30% of what I was doing. I mean, talk about a frustrating situation. Like, my guys can't perform worth a darn. I'm finding it fairly easy at this stage to get out there and do it. Why can't my guys do it? So this might, resonate with a lot of you. So let me share a quick story. And again, I think this is a part of it. Once you crack this code, once you figure this out, I'm telling you, you'll put the pieces together of building that crew and getting your promotion, no doubt about it. So I'm at that stage. I'm performing. I'm doing well in the field. But for the life of me, my team, no chance. It's just not happening. I remember I felt so stretched with 2 entry levels on my crew. I could not take on a third. No way. Rep number 1, this is going on, that's going on. I got issues. Rep number 2, this is going on. I got issues. I'm drowning in time management, if you will. I don't have any room to breathe. I am so busy just trying to get these guys to perform. And I was lucky enough to befriend Paul Goudreau, who is, talking about winning in the business. The guy was a millionaire multiple times over, had dozens of offices around the country. And so I was lucky enough to go golfing with him. And I remember asking Paul, I'm like, how do you manage so many people? You've got dozens of offices in dozens of cities, all over the place. How do you do it? How do you manage so many people? I'm stretched with 2. I couldn't imagine, all these offices, all this responsibility. And he says to me, Jamie, is that how you understand the business? Is that how you've learned the business? You think I manage all of these guys? He's like, no way. He says, I'm in charge of one person. There's one person that I have to manage and motivate on a daily basis, and that one person is me. He says, my goal is to get a good night's sleep at the end of the night. I don't want to be tossing and turning, ridden with guilt, because I'm taking shortcuts, and maybe I can skate by taking shortcuts, because maybe I've got some talent that some other people don't have. But I'm seeing people around me failing because they're a chip off the old block. They're following my example. I don't want to be ridden with guilt. I don't want to feel awful because people have just chosen to follow Paul. He says, if I'm doing the right things and I'm a good role model and people choose to do the opposite, I don't lose any sleep over that. I'm not ridden with guilt. That's on them. I gave you the blueprint. I gave you the model. And you're not succeeding because you're choosing to do it different than what I did. That's on you. He says, eventually the law of averages, he says, Jamie, I understand this. You can't be a control freak. You don't have any control over a person's free will. You don't have any control over they're going to choose to do what they want to do. And there's nothing you can do about that. But the law of averages, some will choose to follow your example and they will succeed and they will win. Others will choose to not follow your example and, they will turn over. They won't do well. Your goal is to get a good night's sleep. It was a major paradigm shift for me because I went from being so other people focused to being Jamie focused. I remember leaders in the office calling me out on little things like, I'd be frustrated at the end of the day. I'm like, oh my guys, they don't ask questions. They don't want to learn. If I'm not just volunteering, knowledge dropping, they're not looking to get any information. I have to, bring the information. They're like, well, Jamie, does your team ever see you ask questions? I'm like, well, no, all the questions I'm asking are behind closed doors. They're happening in environments like this after work. Well, people learn with their eyes. My team is not seeing me ask questions. So then I'd look for opportunities where things would come my way, with my team around me. I'm like, I've got a question. Let me go ask Keith over there. I've got a question about second interviews. Let me go ask Keith, a question. Got my notepad, taking some notes. Take a wild guess what happened. They start asking questions. Their student mentality starts to rise. I want my team to dress a little sharper. Guess what? Your team starts dressing a little bit sharper. I want my team to show up earlier. Team starts showing up earlier. I want my team to go the extra mile. Maybe put in an extra 15 minutes at the end of the day into the field. Team starts doing the same. Monkey see, monkey do. Not monkey hear, monkey do. People learn with their eyes. I remember listening to an interview with Doug Collins, the former coach of the Chicago Bulls. And he says, any team lucky enough to have Michael Jordan on it, as a coach, you never have to condition the players. You never have to get the players into shape. You can just focus on strategy in basketball, but you don't have to focus on conditioning. Because Michael shows up 2 hours before practice. And without asking anybody else, eventually, everybody shows up 2 hours before practice. They follow his example. It's just one person, Michael and then Scottie Pippen, then, Michael, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Michael, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Kerr. Eventually, the whole team, a domino effect happens, all from the example of one person. So, those are my thoughts there. Consider this as well, too. You never manage people, okay? People are humans, as I said earlier. Everybody's got a free will. So you can't manage anybody's free will. You can't manage anybody's decision making. You can only lead people. You manage things. Manage things, lead people. Manage your calendar, manage your diet, manage your workout schedule, manage your attitude, but lead other people. So there's nothing more powerful, in my opinion, positively or negatively, as far as influence goes, than your example. Again, if the goal is to influence others, there is no calling card or go-to more powerful than your example. So take a look at your team. Usually your team is a little bit of a mirror of some of the habits that you have going on. So take a look at what you see in your people that you want to improve, and then go to the lab and don't perfect that. The pursuit of perfection I think is okay, but work on it with you. Well, I want my team to show up earlier. You just keep showing up earlier. Eventually, again, law of averages, that free will is going to take place, and you're going to have people choosing to follow your example. You'll also have people choosing to not follow, but that's okay, law of averages. But that's how you're going to get your people to that next level. Just keep focusing on you, focus on your self-improvement, and the rest will follow. So that's what I have for you guys this week. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you, Juan. Again, love your goals, love how you're doing, and we do expect you to be running an office sometime very soon. I'll talk to you guys soon.